There's a stream. There we go. It's all up and running. So let's get this show on the road. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round 18 of the PS4 Pacific Series, the Tier 2 Pacific Series, here on Spec Esports. Finally, this roller coaster championship that now officially has 10 different race winners is finally hitting the final leg of the championship. Round 18, we're here in Mexico City at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. 4.3 kilometers and 17 corners makes up this Grand Prix circuit. Key corners here tonight that we have to look out for, turns 1 and 4, and they're pretty much the only overtaking opportunities on the circuit. Maybe turn 12 just before the stadium section is another opportunity as well. And we've also got to look out for the S section on this circuit, turn 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. It's probably the most demanding part of the circuit. It requires a lot of flow and rhythm, and if you don't have that, you are going to be absolutely all over the place, not just over the course of one lap, but over the course of an entire race. But before the race actually starts, let's begin the 18 minutes of qualifying here at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. So, just before qualifying starts, I better talk about the championship because it's a very hot contest between 4 drivers at this stage. It's becoming more and more of a 3-horse race, but there's still a 4th driver sort of in the hunt. Not quite, but he's sort of there. Currently leading the championship is Misty Griffin on 193 points. With P2 being harassed after taking a spectacular victory at Suzuka, the Japanese Grand Prix. That absolutely pouring wet race. A brilliant display of driving, a real masterclass race that was, a real masterclass display from him in that race, and becoming the 10th different winner. 10 winners after 17 races. It's absolutely unbelievable. He's on 180 points, 13 behind the points leader on 193. So it's a very close contest between those two. In 3rd place is Aussie Suspect, driving for Toro Rosso. He's 32 points behind the points leader on 161, or 19 behind Harass 18. He is still very much in the hunt with 4 rounds to go. And also Kick Butt Kiwi on 143 points. Now he's 50 behind the championship leader, so he's kind of out of contention, but a few bad races for the top 3 would skyrocket him into a potential Drivers' Championship chance. And slowly coming up the order as well is 5th place in the form of Lunacy. He's on 117. He will definitely be trying to hunt down the top 4. Now, time to actually take you on a lap of this circuit. Now, for those who at this circuit would know that I am not a fan of this place, and I'm going to explain why. Turns 1, 2 and 3, they're the only corners on the first sector, only 3 turns, and that's why I hate the first sector so much. It's, if you stuff up any one of those 3 corners, your run onto this straight, the second DRS zone, is completely ruined. Coming through turn 5 now, you have to be careful with turn 5. If you run wide, it's very easy to get a track extending warning. It's weird, but hey, away we go. Now the second sector, probably the most difficult part of the circuit. He's now entering turn 9 into turn 10, then turn 11. This circuit demands you to cut everything, to abuse everything in order for you to be competitive. Remember turn 5 in track extending? You can track extend the living daylights out of turn 12. That sort of green patch over there, you can track extend all of that. But as soon as you put 4 wheels over at turn 5 or even turn 3, that's a track extending warning. It's Codemasters in a nutshell, really. Just very inconsistent delivery of penalties, as Dan the Racer goes faster, so 1 minute 16 1:767, beating out his teammate Lunacy by 0.2 of a second. But the thing I hate most about this circuit is undeniably the first sector, as, the third sector, as Proximity Ross jumps up to pole position, then Misty Griffin takes that, then Iconic Q takes that, a 15.4, that's a mega opening lap by the substitute driver. The thing I hate most is the third sector, the stadium section. Having to drive through a stadium on a Grand Prix circuit is a brilliant idea, because it's just a hub of excitement, of fantastic energy. It's a great idea to drive through a stadium, just this packed out arena, just screaming at you at such a great amount of volume that it would be louder than the cars themselves. But the execution of that stadium section is so incredibly piss poor, in my opinion. So you've got this hub of people who have paid money to see Formula 1 cars race. So what do? You turn it into a choke point. That sector that Iconic Q is coming up to now, okay, it offers nothing in terms of racing, as Reedy gets a 5 grid place penalty for severe contact. This sector offers nothing in terms of racing. Absolutely nothing. It is the most useless bit of racetrack I have ever seen in my life. It makes the Caesars Palace car park look like the most godly racetrack ever designed, as Wingman gets a 5 grid place penalty. Severe contact there for him. Few of these drivers are getting these penalties. To me, you had this brilliant idea of putting a bit of circuit in a stadium. Why not have it so then drivers are side by side through there and they sort of battle it out in that sort of stadium? A bit like what it is in the second sector, as Artie is going through. This would be a brilliant piece of racetrack to have as a stadium, because the drivers come into turn 4, typically side by side, they battle through turn 4 and they battle through turn 5, and if they haven't resolved their sort of scuffle, they battle through turn 6, and they probably solve it through the S's. But no, it's just a choke point. It's so that the cars slow down for the cameras, to get a look at them sponsors. You have to get a look at them sponsors, mate. That's all you want. To have a look at that Heineken and have a look at that Pirelli. To me, it's absolutely useless, and it's a massive waste of what could be a brilliant piece of racetrack. This is supposed to be the highlight of the circuit, and it provides nothing in terms of racing. In fact, it's a massive hazard for drivers, particularly under safety car restarts. It's a choke point, and when you have cars going slowly through there, once they reach that hairpin on the safety car restart, some of them will be that slow they have to actually stop to not run into the back of someone. And then you have a Constantina effect, and everyone behind the driver that stopped probably will get wing damage or some sort of stupid penalty that this game delivers. Funny thing is, I'm actually not too bad around this circuit in the game. It's probably one of my quicker tracks. But I absolutely hate that third sector with such a passion. Like, it's not... The rest of this track is pretty okay. It's demanding, it's challenging. And considering what used to be there, a corner called Peraltada, one of the most fiercest corners in Formula 1, a corner where Nigel Mansell overtook Gerhard Berger around the outside in the 1990 Mexican Grand Prix, often renowned as one of the greatest overtakes ever, and in its place is that heap of garbage. I'm sorry, but so many opportunities missed. Dearie me. That's why I just don't like this track at all, in both real life and in this game. Like, the idea of a Mexican Grand Prix is fantastic. The Mexican crowd would be so passionate, because over in countries like this, Spain, Italy, even the Japanese, to them it's not just a race, it's a celebration of speed, of bravery and horsepower. To them it's not just a race. To them it's so much more. And also the home fans for Sergio Perez. The cheering in this stadium section for him alone would be epic. But what the fans have to see is just this train of cars doing absolutely nothing. Yes. Missed opportunity, which is why I do not like this track. One thing I do like about it now, and I'm riding on board with gold gloves to show it, is the run to turn 1. It's one of the longest in Formula 1. From the start-finish line to the apex of turn 1 is 800 meters. The total straight is about 1.2 kilometers. It's quite a long straight. And when the camera, typically, it zooms out, I think it's a camera at turn 1. It's a nice wide shot, and you can see all the cars scramble, just trying to find a place on the circuit. It is one of the most epic camera shots you can get in this game, and I think in Formula 1, period. As AU Wingman now jumps up to pole position with a 14.9, the first driver to crack into the 14s. Well, you might see a couple more. There we go, Aussie Suspect jumps into 14s with a 14.9 as well. It's one of the most epic shots, I think, in Formula 1, is the run to turn 1. It's awesome. But other than that, track doesn't really offer much. As I said, there's only 2 overtaking opportunities as Gold Gloves jumps up to 4th place. It's turn 1 and turn 4. You might be able to get it done at turn 12, maybe, if you get a good run through the S's, but other than that, it's literally 2 overtaking opportunities. That's about it. Now, we're halfway through qualifying. I've done my rant about this circuit. Always have to get it out of the way with this track. It's just, really do not like that sector. I just do not like it. But now, 7 minutes to the end of qualifying. All but 4 drivers have done a flying lap. One of them has just invalidated. Servanite currently in 20th. Quite an easy thing to do, particularly in the second sector. Because the track demands so much in regards to corner cutting, it is super easy to get a warning and invalidate your tyre. And at this track, more than most, it's very, very easy to gather penalties, 3-second time penalties. Yeah, now we're starting to get to the pointy end of qualifying. We might be seeing some really epic times, particularly from the championship contenders. Right on board with Big Donga. This man has been quick in quite a number of races this season. Been quick, but he often gets involved in some sort of accident. 2 examples I can think of is Germany at Hockenheim, and another one at Paul Ricard in France, where he was leading and he lost it at turn 10. There we go. That's what the circuit demands from you. You have to do something like that. You have to cut the corner. Because if you don't, you're losing too much time. And if you just stray an inch over that white line, your lap's done. It's an invalidation. Go out and do it again. But you have to do that. It's what the track demands you to do. Let's see. Anyone else on a flying lap? Championship leader's coming around the final corner. He sets a 15.8. He's up his own time by 2.5 tenths of a second. But he's only in P6, the championship leader. Iconic Q currently on a flyer, it seems. Up by 2 tenths of a second. He was purple in sector 1. Now through the second sector, hopefully he'll do this pretty well. Oh no, turn 7. He missed the apex for turn 7. Runs wide at turn 8. Look at that. It just... Get one part of it wrong and the entire flow and rhythm of that section is gone. You can see that there. He lost about 1.5 tenths in that sector alone. Just because he made one tiny mistake at the beginning of the S's. That's how much this circuit demands of you. One small imperfection, your lap is done. and he comes into the pits. And that's another thing I have a little bit of question mark over this circuit, is the pit entry. It's one of the more tricky ones I find on the calendar. You don't really know where to brake, particularly if you don't use a racing line. But what Codemasters have done, they quite nicely put a bollard on the inside, which suggests the braking point for the pit entry, where you finally put on the limiter. Problem is that bollard is easily destructible. You just have to hit it and boom, it's gone. And anyone who isn't using a racing line suddenly has absolutely no idea where to brake for the pit entry. So it is kind of annoying. But yeah, that's way. Right on board with Installator Show. He's currently in 9th place. He moves on his PB by 1/10 of a second. Apparently he's purple in Sector 1. Through Turn 6, I do like that corner quite a bit, Turn 6. Quite a nice corner I find. Into Turn 7, Turn 8, Turn 9. See what I mean? You have to use every millimetre of track that the game allows you to. Out of Turn 11, into Turn 12. You can... They're not doing it right. You have to abuse the track limit on the left-hand side. You can pretty much run up to the wall and not get a track extension. You gain that much time by just really abusing the track limits. You have to try and stay to the right-hand side of the circuit as well when you're finishing a lap. According to the really sweaty players at least, it's a very good idea to stay as far to the right-hand side of the circuit when setting a flying lap, and also to abuse the track limits at Turn 12. To really try and open the corner up and carry as much speed as you can into the stadium section. Aussie Suspect. He's now starting a new flying lap with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left in the session. Let's see what this driver can do. Through Turn 1 into Turns 2 and 3. Stuff up any of these, your lap is done. He's done well. Can't really have all 4 wheels outside that white line on the outside. You can for a little bit. Stay out there for too long, or if you come back onto the circuit too quickly, you'll get a track extending warning. Turn 5. Stay as far to the left as possible. Try and open up the corner into Turn 6. Make it as open as possible. Try and carry as much mid-corner speed as you can. Into Turn 7. Now Turn 8. Turn 9. Oh, that's an invalidation for sure. Yep. But that's what the circuit demands you to do. Abuse everything. Can't leave any millimetre spared. Use all of it. Wingman on a flying lap. He's up by 1.5 of a second. Just on that alone, he's going to take pole position. Or at the very least, go above Aussie Suspect. Servanite as well. I didn't realise, up into 3rd position, as Harass takes that away with a 15-1. That might be his last lap, is it? No, he's still going. So we'll keep an eye on the driver who's currently 2nd in the championship. Wingman through the 3rd sector, coming out of the stadium. Through Turn 16, then 17, as Donga has retired from the session. And Wingman jumps up to pole position with a 1 minute 14.443. That is an awesome lap. And Gold Glove's got a 5 grid place penalty as well that I noticed. I'll have to look back on that. Harass is out of the session. Has he crashed? He must have. Because now the Mercedes is gone, not sure what happened. Suspect, that's him causing the yellow flags in Sector 2. Installator through the final corner, jumps up to 4th place with a 15-1. Kickbutt Kiwi. Has he just set a flying lap? Yeah, he must have. That's an AI in control of that thing. At least I think it is. But currently he's P6 with a 15-3. Excuse me. Deary me. Big sneeze. Now, Misty Griffin, the current championship leader, he is in 11th place. He is outside of the point scoring positions. Into turn 12. You have to use that track on the left hand side. You have to use all of it, according to the sweats. Into the final two corners. Turn 16, where Kvyat murdered Hulkenberg. And it's a 15-4. Jumps up to P8. Here we go. He has all three of his championship rivals in front of him after qualifying. But you don't score any points in qualifying, you score all the points during the race. So it's not quite too bad. It's not quite horrible for Misty Griffin. Not yet. But he's definitely got a lot of work to do. Harass, Suspect and Kickbutt Kiwi, all of them are in front of the championship leader. But it's AU Wingman who will start on pole position. He got pole position in the last round at Suzuka, and he gets pole position here by a massive 4.5 tenths of a second. That is a very good lap from him. Quite easily takes pole. That will end qualifying here at Mexico City as the AI do its thing and run into each other. Now, that's your order. Now, oh, I forgot about that. Wingman was one of the drivers who got a 5 grid place penalty, so it will actually be Aussie Suspect who will be starting from pole position. Gold Gloves has got a 5 grid place penalty as well, but he'll be starting on the soft compound tyre as he qualified in the 10. And Reedy got a 5 grid place penalty as well, but he will be that would actually be the reason why he hasn't set a time, because of the penalty. So he'll be starting from 20th on the grid. So at Mexico, it's one of two strategies, if I remember. It's either softer hards or it's the 2-stop around here, unless it's raining. Doesn't look like rain. There is clouds about that, so there might be rain. We'll have to wait and see. Drivers loading into the session, and when they do, they'll be tuning their setups. They'll be deciding what kind of strategy they go on to for the race. And they'll be praying to Lord Baby Jesus that they don't die into turn 1. Quite the common sight here at Mexico. An incredibly long run into turn 1. You have to be careful on the brakes to make sure you don't run up the back of anybody. Pick your mark. Just try and survive. But the session counter counts down to 0. And let's begin the formation lap here in Mexico City. Aussie Suspect starts on pole position. There we go, the drivers take off. But it was AU Wingman who qualified first, but ultimately will start 6th. 1 minute 14.4, beating a 1 minute 14.9. It was an awesome lap by the reserve driver. We don't need lap data. Turn off that, turn off that. Ah, drop the controller. Lol. There you may. Get that all back. There we go. 36 laps here in Mexico. Interesting to see certain drivers are starting on the mediums and on the hards. Top 10 obviously starting. That is including Lunacy for that matter. Lunacy qualifying in 11th because Gold Gloves had a grid place penalty. But Lunacy still starting on the soft compound tyre. He'll be on the freshest tyre, soft compound tyre out of the entire top 10. Ken Tenma, the first driver to start on the medium tyres, with Artie Chenges, the first and only driver to start on the hard compound tyre. Tor Cogwheel from 13th starts on the mediums. Gold Gloves will be starting on the softs that he qualified on after qualifying P9. Proximity Rocks, formerly known as Achiriale, We'll start from 15th on the softs. Then the racers 16th from the softs. El Tonki 17th on the mediums. Deputy Dill Dog, love it. Starts from 18th on the mediums. A Big Donga on the softs in 19th, and Reedy rounding out 20th also on the soft compound tyre. Probably the soft compound is the best shout. It provides the most amount of flexibility for the race in case if there's an early safety car. Tends to happen around here. Let's see how it all pans out. Drivers are now lining up back into their respective grid slots, Reedy being the last of those, and we'll finally get this thing underway. 4 rounds to go, and we've got 36 laps ahead of us here in Mexico. Just get a sneaky on board just to see when the lights actually turn on. There we go. 3, 4, 5 red lights. Oh, Reedy, a drive-through penalty for a jump start. It's lights out and away we go. And it seems Aussie Suspect has gotten a mega start off the line, but so has Aras, both of them having an awesome start. And look at this. This is going to be... Look at that. Oh, and oh my goodness me. We have an accident before turn 1. It is side by side for the leaders. Then it's 3 wide for 3rd place. And then the rest of the midfield gets relatively okay. It looks relatively okay. But I have never seen that before. An accident before turn 1. As a commentator, as a racing driver, I've seen that, but not as a commentator. That is definitely a first for me. That's a very interesting start as Wingman looking down the inside into turn 6. Can Servanite hang it down the inside for turn 7? Yes, he will. Wingman will try desperately to hang it around, but he just can't do it. He's now got Iconic Q all over the back of him into turn 11. Wow. Now will he look into turn 12? He's looking around the outside, it seems. Can't find a way through. But what a start. And it's Kick Butt Kiwi, one of the championship contenders. Into the wall on the pitch straight before turn 1. Unbelievable. Got some more side-by-side action here in the midfield as Artie comes into the play. Oh, it will be a double stack for McLaren. Reedy having to serve a drive-through penalty for jumping the start. But it's Aussie Suspect who leads. Harass in P2. These two had an absolutely excellent start off the line. Oh, it's Wingman! Has been spun? Or has he spun himself, I wonder? At turn 3, he's got wing damage. Perhaps hit the car in front. Spun himself round because of it. The game would often do something like that. The two racing points are now fighting each other for P7. What an interesting start it has been. And look at that. All of the soft runners are now ahead of all of the medium runners. Reedy doesn't count. He had to make a drive through. Oh, dearie me. Wingman with that wing damage. It's going to be just this mobile chicane in the middle of the circuit. He looks down the inside. He tries to fight, and he's been spun. And into the wall, not quite. Chucks it in reverse and he gets going again. This is Suzuka all over again. Lap 1, lap 2 chaos here in Mexico. And Aussie Suspect, that's an awesome start. Awesome couple of first laps. Pulling out a 2-second lead, and Servanite and Aras are battling. Servanite having to use all of the track on the outside. Try and keep up with the Mercedes-Benz of Harass. Iconic Q is trying to find a way past into turn 4. Can't quite find it. Oh, Servanite still desperately hanging it in there and gets a 3-second time penalty in the process. Now, he can't really find any sort of overtaking points around here. It's very much follow the leader stuff, but Server has a moment at the beginning of the S's. Lost a little bit of time to Harass. Luckily not too much time, but Iconic Q couldn't really capitalise on that little mistake, as there's no real overtaking chances in the second sector. Into the stadium section. Now, DRS, fine. Oh! No, he lost it by himself, Iconic. I thought there might have been contact between him and Misty Griffin, but no. Just lost the back end. He's now fallen off the back of Server Knight. And Server, he's going to look for an overtake here. Use and abuse that DRS, and he's going to get it again down the second DRS straight. There is no DRS detection zone between the first and second. So if you get it in the first, you get it in the second as well. So he's able to pull away from Harass. But let's see if he can capitalize on this. Now having the track position, can he pull away from the two Silver Arrows? Or are they going to be in a race-long battle for second place? We'll have to wait and see. Looking further back, Lunacy currently holding 5th place. Misty Griffin must have made a mistake. Either that or he had Lunacy in behind him. Server Knight again 3 seconds. He now has a total of 6. Oh, Griffin! Massive, massive moment at turn 11. He catches it though. Hasn't lost too much time. We have the two racing points battling each other for P7 and P8. Big Donga has had an epic start. He's made up 10 positions from 19th to 9th. Absolutely awesome for the Ferrari driver. And Honest Crook in the point scoring positions in P10. Server Knight sets a new fastest lap, so clearly Server is the quickest out of the group of 3 battling for second place. But those penalties are going to pay a massive price at the end of this Grand Prix. Oh, speaking of which, battling, here we go. So Lunacy and Misty Griffin. Misty Griffin having that DRS, it is that powerful. Look at him just pull away. That much overspeed with the DRS. Into turn 5. Turn 6, there's not really an opportunity here. You sort of just have to follow the leader. But Lunacy is hounding the back of that Renault. Into turn 7. Now Dirty Air is going to play a massive part through here. Lack of grip from the aero wash. Going to lose a lot of speed. You can see it there. Griffin just able to pull away ever so slightly. Into the stadium section. You've got to use that track on the left hand side. You've got to use all of it. Not using enough in my opinion. As he comes out of the final corner, tries to get a good run, but Misty Griffin, that is an awesome exit out of turn 16 into turn 17. But let's see, let's have a look at the power, the sheer power of DRS. So Iconic Q overtakes Harass on the straight. Will he look down the inside? No, he won't. But if he can get a good run through the chicane, he might have a chance into turn 4. Oh, was there there was contact! Lunacy has been spun round by Gold Gloves. My goodness me, from 6th all the way down to 10th place, now 11th, now 12th maybe. We'll have a look. Proximity Ross. Gaining. No, he's not close enough. But Lunacy from 6th all the way down to 11th. And Gold Gloves has now lost out to Big Donga. Donga is on a charge, emulating a bit of Sebastian Vettel here. Oh, but that's definitely a track extending warning for Big Donga. He's now all over the back of Installate, and that's a big moment. Seen a couple of moments like on either side of the track. Donga was skilled enough to get himself out of that situation and not lose too much time as well. Still hounding the back of the racing point of Installator. Rounding the final corner, he'll get DRS, and watch the overspeed. It's going to be absolutely massive. 310, 320, 330 kilometers an hour, climbing towards 340, down the inside into turn 1, and gets the position quite easily, but Installator's having none of it. He tries to hang on to the back, or rather the side of Big Donga, but he wasn't able to keep it there. And he loses so much time that he loses the position to his teammate, Gold Gloves. But Installator's not having that either. Down the inside into turn 4. battling through turn 5. And hello, Honest Crook. I'm going to bring myself into the party. So we now have a 4-way fight for 7... well, actually, Big Dong has really pulled away from the 2 racing points, so it's more or less a 3-way battle for 7th. Wowee. Nice bit of battling going on here. 2 racing points are racing each other very hard, sort of an Ocon-Perez sort of battle. It's great to watch, but it's hurting the team. They're ultimately losing a lot of time to the top 6. Lost enough time that they're now out of DRS range to the car in front. And they now brought the car behind into the battle. Honest Crook in 9th place. And another excellent start for Dan the Racer. He often keeps himself out of trouble. He's made up 6 positions. Now into P10 in the point scoring positions. Still a lot of racing to go ahead though. As Lunacy has actually come into the pits. He's onto the hards. The medium compound tyre. So he's definitely doing a 2-stop. Artie, can he catch up? Not quite. Let's have a look at the leaders. Aussie Suspect still leads. Servanite in P2, 2.8 seconds behind. Now 2.9 seconds behind. Iconic Q in 3rd place with his teammate Harass in 4th. Hunting down the Renault of Servanite. Misty Griffin finds himself in 5th place as Gold Gloves has had a moment. Oh my goodness me, Ken Tenma. That is an epic incident at turn 11 that somehow hasn't resulted in him retiring. He's only got severe wing damage, and Servanite, Iconic Q, into the pit lane. Onto the hard tyres goes Iconic, Server onto the medium tyres. So Server having to do another pit stop, Iconic not having to do another pit stop. Now, if Iconic believes he's got good enough pace, he can make those hards work. I did a similar thing in another league race where I switched to the hard compound tyre. I did, I think it was somewhere in the region of 32 laps, 31 laps on them. Finished 4th in that race after after not qualifying. Unfortunately, I couldn't do qualifying for that Mexico race, but I ended up finishing 4th. So the hards aren't too bad around here. You can definitely make them work. And Deputy Dildog, where did he come from? In the Haas. Up 13 positions. Same with Dan the Racer. Not committing to any sort of pit stop just yet. As Tall Cogwheel has retired in the pit lane. Becomes the first retirement of the race. But Aussie Suspect still leading by quite a big margin as well of 11 seconds to P2. And he comes into the pits. Harass, does he follow? I'm sure he will. But what an intriguing start to this race. Cogwheel has left the session. Deary me. Oh, and he's got front wing damage as well, so he has to get that replaced. Okay. I did not see him get wing damage. But there we go. That time. There we go. 10 laps into this Grand Prix. Not quite 1/3 of the way through, but we're almost there. An Iconic Q in 3rd place. Currently the leader, theoretically, is Servanite after pitting at that virtual safety car. Have a look at that. Aussie Suspect also making that pit stop, but not under virtual. That's how much time he lost. He was battling with Servanite and Iconic Q. Servanite and Iconic Q are 2nd and 3rd. Aussie Suspect, 7th. He's battling Misty Griffin. Into turn 7. Griffin has the inside line. Very respectful driving from the two. Very respectful indeed. AU Wingman, 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. Currently in 17th place after an exceptional qualifying session. Dan the Racer, he's now got the silver arrows of Iconic Q all over the back of him. Oh, and that's a very late call into the pit lane. A very, very late call into the pit lane for Dan the Racer. Installator, a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. El Tonki now finding himself in 4th place. An Aussie Suspect. What's that gap to the leader? 7.3 seconds. Reedy, a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, making a second stop. Get it back to interval. Look at this train, this almighty train led by El Tonki in the Red Bull 10-lap old medium tyres. He's got Suspect going around the outside into turn 5, not typically an overtaking spot. Will he look to the inside of turn 7? He tries. Luckily there isn't any contact. Now we've got this awesome aerial shot. Thank you, Codemasters, you absolutely read my mind. Through the S as we go, you can see this train, but there's no real overtaking points on this circuit, not this part of the circuit, but he might have a crack into turn 12. He darts to the inside. Suspect gets to position. He moves himself up into P4, and here comes Misty Griffin. He introduces himself to the party. Around the outside, into the hairpin, and he loses a position, in fact, to Big Donga. Had absolutely nowhere to go, the Renault, and Donga took advantage, full advantage of the situation. Moves himself into P6, maybe even P5. He'll get DRS. Here we go, straight line battle between Ferrari and Red Bull, but here comes the Renault of Misty Griffin. What can he do? Will it be 3 wide into turn 1? It just might be. Oh, there isn't quite a hole. El Tonki, probably the best straight line speed out of the 3, but isn't quite able to hang on to the position. And gets a 3-second time penalty for cutting turn 2. Understandable from looking on Misty Griffin's onboard. But El Tonki, he's having none of it. He wants a battle, but he pulls out. Donga moves himself into fifth. Oh, Tonki having a bit of a moment at turn 4. Griffin will be desperately trying to get past the Red Bull. The more time he spends behind him, the more time he loses to his championship rivals. But what a nice little scrap between these guys. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Back up to your leader. Currently Servanite, leading by 2.5 seconds to Iconic Q. Now I do believe Iconic will make it to the end of this race. I do firmly believe that, off experience. So theoretically he is the race leader, as Servanite will have to pit again. Those mediums will not make it. Griffin has finally made it past El Tonki into 6th place, and here comes Installator. Harass all the way down in 9th. That's how much time he lost during the pit stops. Missing out on the virtual safety car pit stop, but also having that wing change. That's why he's lost so much more time. Installator El Tonki finally exchanging positions. Installator into P7. Anything else happening, I wonder? Ooh, yes we do. Got the battle for the final point scoring position. Got Gold Gloves and Honest Crook. Got Dan the Racer in front, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's a rat. Oh, and Honest Crook has made an absolute mess of turn 4, allowing Gold Gloves to get on through. Honest Crook won't be too worried though. On the hard tyre, he can make it to the end. The rest of the field have to make pit stops. So it's probably best that he doesn't fight too much, because then he'll lose so much time. Doing well at the moment in 11th. Lunacy trying to recover after contact with Gold Gloves. Currently in P12. Aussie Suspect sets a new fastest lap. A 1 minute 17.859. Deary me, it's all happening. Deary me. Donga now all over the back of Deputy Dildog. I love that name, that's awesome to say. Into turn 1. Now turn 2. Oh my word. Donga going in a bit deep, in my opinion, for the apex for turn 2. He doesn't have DRS though. Okay. Yeah, he doesn't have DRS. Into turn 4. Turn 5. Now this is the last overtaking opportunity into turn 6. I think he's going for it. Rather, Deputy has just let him on by. He doesn't want to fight. He knows his battle. He obviously knows that Donga is on fresher tyres as well. So it's good stuff, good situational awareness from Deputy in the Haas. And he's got Misty Griffin all over the back of him very, very shortly. Would be that much quicker than the 13 lap old mediums. Just the mechanical grip you can get from these tyres. Look at the understeer on the Haas. Hang on a minute. What's happened to Proximity Ross? He's had a moment in the S's. And he's got front wing damage as well, so he'll have to come in. Deputy's into the pit lane. I think he'll be switching on to the hards. Yep. So it's a one stop for the Haas driver. Gold gloves. Now all over the back of Harass, gaining, using that DRS to full advantage. Turn what? Excuse me, turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. Chuck it back up again. No, yep. Oh, okay, only into mode 2. Probably setting up for next lap, I'm feeling. Aussie Suspect gets a 3-second time penalty now. Ooh, here we go. Battle for 10th place. Can Lunacy get the switch back down the inside into turn 6? It's successful for the Williams driver. Moves himself into P10, the final point scoring position. And we're still not even halfway through this race yet. We've still got a... Oh, and around it's Arras! I don't believe it! He's made a mistake in the second sector. He's got a... I imagine that's about an orange front wing. Oh, and almost contact with the Williams of Lunacy. Orange? Maybe... No, that's probably a red front wing. Regardless, it needs to be replaced. I don't believe it. One of the championship contenders will need to make a pit stop. Into the pits he goes. Creeps in. He doesn't want to get a penalty. He desperately doesn't want to get a penalty. I do not believe it. The championship has taken another turn. And he's going onto the soft compound tyre, it seems. No, it is mediums. It just... Why did it switch to softs for? Oh, for Codemasters, honestly. But he's down in 17th. Or is it 18th? He's behind Kickbutt Kiwi. 2 of the championship contenders out of the points. Gold gloves, a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. Oh my goodness me. So it seems, at this stage, only 2 of the championship contenders will score points. But we've still got a lot of racing to go. When the leader crosses the start-finish line, it'll be 20 laps to go. Here we go. Suspect all over the back of Iconic Q. As you'd imagine, on those soft compound tyres, El Tonki 3 seconds. He just powers on by Iconic Q. He still has the inside line, but he doesn't have the overlap anymore. Into turn 1. Suspect on the fresher, slightly fresher, but more importantly, softer compound tyre. Just able to get on the brakes later because of the more grip that he has. And is able to hang on to P2 quite comfortably. And starting to pull away from Iconic Q. But Iconic Q has to realise that he has to play the long game. The very long game. He needs to stay as close to the top 2 as he humanly can. The more he does that, the better position he will be for the end of this race. It'll be interesting to see how all these tyre strategies sort of come close to each other at the end of this race. How it all unfolds, really, for the current strategies that these drivers are on. Now, anything happening? We'll have a little battle just outside of the points. Dan the Racer and Artie Chenges. Out of the S's. Now will he look for a move here into turn 12? He's not quite close enough. He'll be setting up for the straight. Through the hairpin. Out of the stadium section into turn 16. It'll be critical for Artie to get a good exit, but it seems Dan the Racer has gotten a superb one. mostly due to the fact that he's on 7-lap-old softs and compared to Artie on 16-lap-old mediums. But the DRS will claw him back in. Look at the overspeed that Artie has got in the McLaren. All that time he lost in the third sector, he gains back in the first. Out of the final corner in the first sector, turn 3, DRS open. He will look to the inside. Into turn 4, he's close. He's very close and gets a 3-second time penalty there. Having to cut the circuit in the belief that he needed to try and avoid Dan the Racer. Didn't really need to. And because of that sort of over caution towards Dan the Racer. Oh, and Misty Griffin gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Okie dokie. Where has that come from? Coming into the pits, onto the hards. Oh dear. I wouldn't go onto the hards. I would only go onto the hards if I was in a situation like Iconic Q or Installator. I wouldn't switch onto the hards now. I would have waited until the mediums were viable and pit onto them, because they are a far better race tyre. So maybe Misty has shot himself in the foot here, but he's down in P10 as Artie makes a move on Dan the Racer for P11. They're clawing onto the back of this battle for the final point scoring positions. Deputy is on the back of this as well in 13th, so this battle might really hot up towards the end. Wingman finds a way past Otis Croc into 8th place, but Wingman needs to make another pit stop, if I'm not mistaken. 16-lap old meat, yeah, he'll definitely need to make another pit stop. Back up to the leaders, I suppose. Servanite still leading and still doing a magnificent job. He's opened up a 4-second lead over Aussie Suspect, who had been leading for the majority of the race until safety car, virtual safety car that came out. But it seems that Iconic Q is in the best position to win at this stage. He can make it to the end. If he wants to do that, he can do it. Wingman is into the pits for his final stop. Same with Artie. He's into the pits for his final stop. So we're in the final stages of this race. A lot of these drivers will make their final stops and go to the end. Through the second sector. Iconic Q hanging on to the back of Aussie. That is really surprising, considering that Aussie's on the soft compound tyre. Probably just demonstrates the sheer power of DRS, and also the fact that Iconic Q is quite a quick driver, no doubt in that. Aussie's in. He's had enough. He's gotten the white flag out. He goes into the pits for his final stop. There goes Iconic. That gap, 5 seconds, will it increase or will it decline between the two drivers? If it starts declining, Iconic Q looks really, really good. Big Donga will need to make a stop. Installator can make it to the end. Suspect comes out in 5th place. Lunacy in 6th. He'll need to make another pit stop. Gold Glove's in the pits as well for his final stop. Same with Dan the Racer. So these drivers are now transitioning onto their final stints as Aussie Suspect gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That's another thing as well. Once we get towards the pointy end of the race, we have to look at penalties. They are going to play a ginormous part in this race. Installator 3 seconds. I wouldn't be at all surprised if everyone in the top 10 had some form of penalty, as El Tonki gets 3 seconds, currently in 10th place, just in front of his teammate. Or Honest Crook having a wild moment at the beginning of the S's, somehow recovers, doesn't have a massive moment. Seems that Harass and Kickbutt Kiwi are having a bit of a melee. Two championship contenders all the way at the back in 15th and 16th. It's not where they want to be, considering this is the pointy end of this championship. Let's see. Gold Gloves is now hunting Ken Tenma for 11th place. Ken, he's a fair way in front, but the sheer power of DRS means that he is still incredibly vulnerable. Into turn 1. Gold Gloves, he's not quite close enough, but he will 100% look into turn 4. Look at the amount of speed he is able to carry with that fresher tyre. DRS open again. Into turn 4. He will look to the inside. Ken will kind of defend, but he will open the door up. But Ken holds it around the outside really nicely. A little bit of contact between the two. Into turn 6. Ken just puts the car in the right place. Just sort of in the middle of the road, so then Gold Gloves can't really send it down the inside. Nice little bit of racecraft. Through the S's. Ken has a bit of understeer through the S's, but Gold Gloves has nowhere to go. He has to wait. Will he make a move? No, he won't. He'll wait. He'll be patient and wait until the pitch straight, and then he'll make his move. Through the hairpin. Now into turn 16, then 17 to end off the lap. He'll get DRS and he'll just go on by. It'll be a very nice, simple move. Here we go. Gets the slipstream, activates DRS, and we'll get to the position very easily. There we go. And he'll get DRS down the second straight as well. It will more or less confirm his 11th place for now. Seems that everything has settled down quite a bit from the chaos in the earlier stages of the race. Everyone has got through, minus Tall Cogwheel. We still have 19 drivers in the race, which is absolutely fantastic to see. Tell you what, there might be a battle starting to brew up for 13th place between Reading and Wingman. Wingman gaining and gaining and gaining on the Toro Rosso. Into turn 7, turn 8, turn 9. Now turns 10 and 11. Reedy a 3-second time. Wingman way later on the brakes in comparison to the Toro Rosso. Just has that better grip, a lot fresher medium tyre. Out of turn 16. To turn 17, Reedy gets a relatively nice exit, I have to say. But I suppose it's ultimately for nothing. DRS open. Chucked it up into overtake mode. Reedy will try and go defensive into 1. Oh, but he didn't defend enough. Wingman to the outside, inside rather. And gets the position into P13. These guys will desperately need a safety car, but from the looks of things, it's not coming. All of them are racing relatively well and making very few mistakes. And all the mistakes they do make, it seem to be small enough for them to catch the car and get it out of that danger zone. Oh, it looked like somebody went off in the background, but no. It's just how the camera was. So, Servanite still going. He's not thinking about going to the end on those medium. I don't think they'll make it. Will they make it? I don't know. Let's see. Now, everything's settled down. We'll have a look at penalties, shall we? Servanite has got 6 seconds. That's it. And they were all from the start of the race as well. Iconic Hugh has got 3 seconds at the moment. Big Donga has got 3 seconds. Installator has got 6 seconds. Aussie Suspect has got 6 seconds. Lunacy has got 3 seconds. So the top 6 either have 3 or 6 seconds. Misty Griffin, on the other hand, has got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's his only penalty so far. In fact, his only warning until this lap. He's been very clean, but has made a mistake in the pit lane, giving him that 5 seconds. So, with 11 laps to go, if you include lap 26, Iconic Q another 3-second time penalty. So, Iconic and Servanite are now on equal penalties. Can Servanite go to the end? That's the ultimate question. And if he can, how long can he hang off? How long can he fight off Iconic Q? Because those mediums will be dead. They will be dying of death towards the end of this race. Surely he cannot hang on to that 6.5 second margin. Maybe he can, but I'm just not sure. I'll have a look at this. Battle Pack here. P7. Lunacy, another 3-second time penalty. Fighting really hard, these guys, through turn 5. Oh, and very deep for El Tonki. Through turn 6. Now we're going through the S's. Here we go. There's the aerial shot I wanted. In the second sector, El Tonki, that's bound to be a warning at turn 8. Oh, he got a really good run, but he had to actually back out of it. El Tonki and Gold Gloves sort of tripping over each other there. Gold Gloves to the inside of both. No way, is it a double overtake? Into the hairpin. Oh, El Tonki cutting the corner massively. Quite unnecessary to do that, but I guess can't be too cautious, I suppose. Oh, I thought it was going to be a double overtake from Gold Gloves. Definitely looked like it. But now he's going to overtake Honest Crook for 7th place. But is Honest going to fight back? He really can't at the moment. He doesn't have the straight line speed of the cars that have DRS. Look at that. He just able to pull away. Just pull away, even with the slipstream. You're just not quick enough. And you can't really fight here. El Tonki, another 3-second time penalty. You must be getting close to a disqualification, surely. Oh, is Big Donger in the pits? Did that just come up? He is in the pits. He'll be boxing onto the soft tyre. And I think he was on the mediums as well, if I'm not mistaken. He was. And he'll be switching onto the softs to end the race. So to him, he can't make it on the mediums. El Tonki. Oh my word. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He has 21 seconds. He's not quite close enough to disqualification just yet. I've seen drivers get up as high as 40 odd seconds in penalties and not get disqualified. So his deputy moves into P9. Does Tenma follow? Not quite. Oh, gets the switchback? No, can't quite get the switchback. Get past, though, on the second DRS straight into P10. Chenguez, 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. And Wingman's onto the back of this as well. So even after all the trials and tribulations that he has been through, he's still potentially going to score points. 7 and a bit laps to go. We'll have to wait and see what's going on with the top 3. Servanite still leads, and it looks like he's pretty content on finishing on the mediums. I don't think he'll be switching to the softs. I don't think he'll be switching at all. So El Tonki getting a 3-second time penalty. Iconic Q will have to try and hunt him down using sheer speed rather than pit strategy. Or at least pray. Pray to the gods that Servanite gets a puncture. Can he conserve the tyres well enough to get them to the end of the race? We'll have to wait. He crosses the line. Oh, is he in? He is in! He can't make it. And gets a 5-second penalty in the process. Iconic Q now leads this race. On to softs. Installator, will he come out in front? I think he will. Installator will move into P2. Server will fall behind Aussie Suspect. Excuse me. He will come out in P4. He's got 7 laps to do to try and hunt down the cars in front. But Iconic Q leads. Installator in P2. Aussie Suspect in P3. Oh, Tonki, another 3-second time penalty. So what? He had 3 seconds just before. He's on 27 seconds. He'd be very close to a disqualification. Iconic Q looking like he's going to take the race win here. Up 6 positions from the start. Superb start from him, and superb race from him at the moment. But still quite a few laps to go. He has to try and get through them. Aussie Suspects recovers. He's currently on the podium. Has Ken made a mistake? No, he's just fallen down. Got a battle pack here for P12. Now I'm just going to check something, because I think I'm right in saying it. But if Iconic Q wins, I think Pacific Series Tier 2, I believe I am right in saying it, Iconic Q is not even on the list. Is this his first race? Can't be. I think I swore I've seen him before in this championship. But no, he's not in the championship. So, if Iconic Q wins this race, he will become the 11th different winner in this championship. 11th. Oh, Q-Salt battery low. Oh. That's alright. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. These guys have stopped battling for a bit. Kiwi sets the new fastest lap. It's a bit redundant though. He is in 19th place, so he can't get it, but he stops other people from getting it. Suspect is now hunting down Installator, and Servanite is hunting down Suspect as well. So Servanite is not quite out of this, but he's got an almighty battle to try and win, to try and get back up towards the leader. Suspect makes a move for second place. It's successful. Servanite goes deep into turn 4. He'll have the inside. Oh, this is an awesome move. An epic move by Servanite. Deep under brakes, around the outside into turn 4. He has the inside for turn 5 and gets the position. Into P3 he goes. Can he hunt down Suspect? Where is he going to do it? Sector 2 and 3 yellow flags. There doesn't appear to be anything. He will try and overtake him on the straight, I imagine. He'll be patient. He'll wait. Proximity Ross, a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. Quite a common occurrence, it seems, in this race so far. Oop, dear me. Here we go. To the inside. Very well done by Server. Now, what can Suspect do? Through the chicane. Server will get DRS, but Aussie has the slipstream. Will he send it? No, he won't. He'll be... Oh, who is that? Is that Kickbutt Kiwi? Yes, it is. He's had a moment in Sector 2. Oh, he's got wing damage as well. Now, Server has got 4 laps to catch up to Iconic Q. Now, they're both on the same penalties, if I am not mistaken. 6 seconds, and still 6 seconds, I think. No, that's right, he had the 5-second penalty for speeding, so it's definitely looking like Iconic Q will win this race. Aussie Suspect a 3-second time penalty. What does he have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, he has 12 seconds. Server 6, 11, 14. So at this rate, if Aussie finishes within 2 seconds of Server Knight, he will take second place. Server Knight, though, has just... as Kickbutt Kiwi retires in the pit lane after... rather understandably retires in the pit lane after what has been an absolutely shocking race for him. Got a full course yellow, not a virtual, just a full course yellow. Deputy now starting to hunt down his teammate Honest Crook. This is the battle for the final point scoring position. But what an absolutely brilliant championship this has been so far. It has been absolutely spectacular. Every step of the way. There's just been drama, there's been action, and there's been different people winning. Typically, in a championship like this, you get 1 or 2 drivers sort of battling it out. Maybe even 3, maybe 4 drivers. Super competitive, battling it out. But here, we've had 10 drivers win. 10 different drivers winning a race so far. And with 2 laps to go, Iconic Q is leading. And if he crosses that start-finish line on lap 36 or 36, he will become the 11th different winner. What a brilliant, brilliant championship. El Tonki is now retired in the pit lane. He's had enough. But it seems with the whole field neutralised, I don't see many battles except for this one between the 2 Haas's. Honest Crook going defensive into T1, but goes super deep into turn 2, gets a switchback, does Deputy, gets another switchback, and somehow Honest Crook holds on to the position, but Deputy will get DRS. Will he? Won't he? Will he? Won't he? Oh, Sector 1 yellow flags, he can't make an overtake, can he? Not yet. Oh, it's 4, right. I was trying to work out where the yellows were coming from. It's El Tonki's car coming back onto the circuit. Because, of course, the AI does something stupid like that. But it seems it's just going to be a nice victory lap for Iconic Q. What is the best strategy? Well, it depends, really. If you like track position, the one stop from the soft to hards is probably for you. But if you like sort of really fast, consistently fast lap times, then the 2 stop from soft to medium probably is the best one to go with. Maybe soft mediums as well is not a bad shout for a strategy. But me personally, I favour the 1 stop. I much prefer track position over just raw speed. And look at the confetti. What a drive! And what a way to end off the Mexican Grand Prix. Iconic Q wins and becomes the 11th different winner in this championship. Server Knight will come home in 2nd place. Aussie Suspect will come home in 3rd. Installator will come home in third because of penalties. Installator will end up on the podium here in Mexico. But ladies and gentlemen, your 11th different winner in this championship. Iconic Hugh. 18 rounds, 11 different winners. Misty Griffin, P6. Gold Gloves, P7. AU Wingman recovers to P8. P7 because of penalties. Lunacy, P9. And who comes on top in the Haasers? Deputy by a mile. He jumps up to 9th place. A very great drive from Deputy from 18th to 9th. Lunacy in P10, rounding out the point scoring finishes. But what's the drive? Also from this man, Big Donga, from 19th to 5th. Definitely a driver of the day performance from him. It would either be this man or the man that stands on the top step of the podium. Iconic Hugh wins with 7-8 in P2 and Installator rounding out the podium finishes. What a great race here in Mexico City. And what a great way to begin the final leg of this championship. Nice podium celebration. And here is your unofficial finishing order until further steward investigation. Iconic Hugh wins. Starting from P7, he comes home in P1 by 10.7 seconds to 7-8 in P2. Installator, P3. Aussie Suspect, the top finishing championship contender, finishes in P4. Big Donga, P5. A superb drive from him from 19th to 5th. Misty Griffin, P6. Critically scores points for the championship, but Harass and Kickbutt Kiwi score nothing. Big talking point for sure. AU Wingman, P7, recovering to P7 after early troubles. Gold Gloves, P8. Deputy, I believe this is his first race as well, finishes in 9th. And Lunacy rounding out the points places. The Aussie Suspect, that's 12 points in 4th, if I'm not mistaken, and 6th place is 8 points, if I remember. So Misty Griffin goes to 201 points. Harass stays on 180. Aussie Suspect goes to 173. Kickbutt Kiwi goes to 143. Stays at 143 rather. So the gap has opened up to 21 points. The gap before this race was 13. It's now 21. It's almost a race win. Aussie Suspect, what's that? 27, 28 points. Just outside of a race win between him and Misty Griffin. And it's a big gap between Kickbutt Kiwi to Griffin. 57, 58 points now from what it was at 50. So, with that said, I'm probably going to do some post-race interviews, so I'll be right back. I've got to interview some people. Invite players. Need to invite Iconic Hugh. There. I need to invite 7-8. And do I have Installator? I'm not sure. Underscore. Pretty sure that's him. Yeah, I spelt it right. Thought as much. Leave session. We'll get it into the. We'll go into the nice showroom. That way we can show off the pretty cars that are on offer in F1 2019. Installator's joined, fantastic. We'll see if the other two join. Iconic Hue has joined. And just before we start, gentlemen, I just want to make sure in your party settings that your voice sharing is on always allow.
Yep, it is.
Alright. Servanite has joined as well, and I just want to make sure with you, Servanite, that your party chat is on always allow, so that way I'm not talking into nothingness.
Yeah, it should be.
Righto. So we have all three gentlemen in the lobby, in the party rather, for some post-race interviews. Before I start anything, I just want to say congratulations to all three drivers for your respective finishing positions. It was a very good race from all three of you. But we'll start off with the race winner, Iconic Hue. Mate, that was a very, very good drive, a great call in the strategy as well to do the one stop, and you now become the 11th different winner in this championship. Just take us through your race as a whole, your Mexican Grand Prix experience.
Well, I knew that overheating on the softs was a big thing at the start of the race, so I sort of just took it a little bit easy. And I think me and Server got pretty lucky with that virtual safety car. I think Aussie was with the hards, I didn't know if I could get to the end of the race. I think my hards were at 70% by the end of the race, but
wow.
I ended up holding on at the end there.
No, you've done absolutely superbly to go on and win that race. Any hiccups along the way, or was it pretty smooth sailing for you?
Pretty smooth sailing, I'd say. I just babying those tyres as much as I possibly could, because I knew Server was not going to be able to do his full stint on the mediums. I knew he'd be coming home hard, so yeah, I was able to just hold on at the end. I think another couple of laps and I wouldn't have been able to really drive at all on those tyres.
Now, was the original plan a one stop, or were you going to do it?
I was supposed to pit on lap 14, but lap 8 was when the safety car came out, so I took my chance.
Yep.
Paid off.
But no, that was very, very well done from you, and congratulations on the victory as well. Again, 11th different winner out of 18 races so far is absolutely insane. And is this your first race in Tier 2?
Yes, it is.
So you win on debut, righto. You win on debut. There we go. It happens. It does happen. So congratulations on that. I was looking in the championship and I didn't see your name, so yeah, you must have been on debut.
Well, I've been promoted to Tier 1 straight away, so one and only race is a win in Tier 2.
But regardless, congratulations on a superb race and a superb result. Mr. P2, Servanite, from you, it was an equally classy drive, led for quite a bit of it after the virtual safety car. Do you regret going on to the mediums?
I knew it was going to be a gamble from when the safety car came out. I was planning on doing two-stop originally, so we quickly swapped over to the medium tyres to try and last out that middle stint as long as possible, possibly to the end, which in the end wasn't going to work. But yeah, it was a gamble, hoping for maybe a late virtual as good as that first one was, to get the changeover, but yeah, didn't work out that way.
How was the rest of the race for you as a whole?
I should have turned my fan on before I started. It got pretty sweaty. Even though I had a good 5-6 second lead, it did get a bit sweaty though, trying to keep up with Hugh's pace while I was on the mediums. But yeah, when I had that pit stop though, I got a bit heated in the party chat that I was in.
Oh, righto. But the rest of the race was pretty smooth sailing for you?
Oh, there's a bit of argy-bargy at the start. People not wanting to give up positions, but otherwise, yeah, it's pretty smooth.
But no, well done, Servanite, on a P2, another solid result as a reserve driver in the championship. So very well done to you. Now we'll move on to P3. Installator, an equally superb drive, and also went on to the same strategy that Iconic Q went on. Was that, with you, was it the same strategy to just do the one stop?
Thanks, Mag. Yes, actually it was planned, and plan was to beat maybe on lap 9 or 10. Safety car came out, so well, it was almost as planned. So I switched to mediums and just put my head down and tried to keep the pace. And, well, in the end, I qualified actually I think 4th. Actually ended up 3rd, and it was some shuffle around at the start. I think it was Kiwi who bumped into me or something. Well, I don't know what happened over there, but lost a number of positions. And struggled at first and fighting with my teammate, with other guys. But after pit, just tried to keep the pace. And when I saw the guys coming, Silver Knight and Ozzy, well, I didn't have a chance to fight with them because just I had my tires old, but still tried to keep it clean, more or less. So jumped Ozzy in the end. Happy.
Oh, you did very, very well, and I caught a lot of that battling between you and your teammate. It was pretty epic stuff to watch. Was it fairly kind-hearted between you two? Was it fairly respectful stuff?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe a couple of times I jumped somewhere where you wouldn't expect.
Yep.
Well, I definitely felt that in some, like some part of the track I was faster, and other parts he was definitely faster, like exit from the last corner.
No,
yeah,
you did.
Well, it ended up quite well for me.
No, you did absolutely well. Any hiccups along the way other than the start? I did see the start, quite a chaotic one, especially for Kick Butt Kiwi. But any other hiccups along the way?
Major hiccup. Then just try to keep the pace. It was more or less fine when it was clean air, without any guys around. So more or less fine. I will always struggle when heaps of cars around, so have to brake early, not to bump into anybody.
Yep.
Yeah, at the start as always, I struggle as well because there's no traction control, and guys just jump on me usually.
Out of corner exits, I'd imagine.
Yeah, as well. But still was a good race.
Well, thank you very much, and congratulations again on the P3. A very, very solid result for you and the Racing Point team. Now, just before I wrap everything up, I'll ask a question to all three of you, because I made a point about it at the beginning of the stream, of how demanding this circuit is, that you have to pretty much cut everything in order for you to be competitive and in order for you to keep up with the drivers surrounding you. I'll like to ask all three of you a question, and you can respond from your podium positions from first to third. What was the most difficult part of the circuit for you to deal with in regarding penalties?
I think it's definitely got to be turn mid S's for me. Just because it's so easy, especially if you're following a car, to get dirty air, get that understeer, and just cut corners. Yeah.
7-0?
Yeah, for me, it was probably, I think the first penalty I copped was the first couple of laps through the chicanes. A lot of it was getting bumped out wide and having to sort of stay there. But yeah, through the S's is a difficult one. To be quick, you gotta be the tiniest sliver of high inside the white line. Yeah, it's millimeters between copping a one and getting million penalties, or getting through clean.
Installator?
Yeah, it's definitely chicanes and the S's. That's where I got most of my penalties actually. But for the driving, I think the hardest sector for me is the last one. The sector more technical. And I didn't have much practice, so I struggled last corner all the time. And back, closer to the end of the race, I recalled how to approach this corner better, so I did better exit. But anyway, for me, it's the hardest.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen, on that. Thank you very much. I think that will end post-race interviews. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. So I think that will end the stream. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for watching the stream. I hope you have enjoyed it as much as I have. That will end round 18. We'll move on to round 19 of the championship. We go we go a bit north to the United States Grand Prix at Circuit of the Americas. Now, we all thought that the S's in Mexico were hard. We'll get ready for the S's in the first sector at COTA. They're a whole different ball game that the drivers will have to put up with. But until then, I've been the Smeg. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next week at Circuit of the Americas. Good night.